So the self-employment life, are you guys interested in it? If so, here are the pros and cons that you may want to consider. Hopefully you guys are having a great week. I spent most of the day playing badminton with my female companion and family. You know, it's nice that badminton's actually one of those sports that you can be like 2 meters apart from each other and still play. And it's great, and it's good exercise. And seriously, if anyone near me wants to 1v1 me, go for it. I'll take you out. And I don't mean like I'll take you out for drinks or for dinner. I'll take you out. I'll beat you. It'll be great. Anyway, in this world, there are two types of people when it comes to making money. There are the people who work for other people to make money, and then there are those people who have people work under them or people that work for themselves to make their own money. Honestly, a lot of people choose to spend their life, working their jobs. Not a big deal. They don't want the responsibility. They don't want all the extra work and hassle that comes with managing your own income and managing your own profitability. And that's honestly fine. That's great. I've also known a couple people that were self-employed but realized it wasn't for them for one reason or the other, so they ended up just going to the regular job life and they haven't been happier. But this video is for the ones that want to be self-employed or thinking about self-employment. So why are we bringing this up now? We've been talking about card vending specifically the last few weeks. Specifically, how to do it, how to record it, things like that. And the next few videos that come out will be more along the lines of vending. But we're going to break up the series slightly and stick this video right in the middle of it. Why? Because you need to make sure that you're in the proper mindset to be a card vendor or a vendor for anything, or really be your own self-fulfilling income source. When you make that commitment to say, alright, I'm going to start buying and selling cards at a profit, you're making that choice. That's all you. You're the one that's deciding, I want to maybe take my income into my own hands and start bringing in a profit from myself and not from anyone else. So we're going to start with the pros, because we always want to start off with the happy note. Number one, you don't have to work for anyone. You have your own autonomy. You're your own man or your own lady if you're female. Just having that feeling of independence does feel really great. And it's nice to know that you can pave your own road. A second pro is that within reason, you can work your own hours. I say within reason because if your route is just to open, a brick and mortar retail store or something, you have to work within confines. For the most part, you can pick your own hours, decide when you want to do things. Maybe if you want to trade stocks, you don't have to trade stocks all 8 hours. Maybe you'll trade an hour in the morning, maybe you'll trade maybe an hour after lunch, whatever. Depends on what your strategy is. If you're in the business of buying and flipping houses, if that's what you want to do, that's kind of on your own schedule too. And to go back to card vending, yeah, you can tell people, I'm going to go right now and look at cards. If you guys want me to look for something, let me know. Or if you guys want me to come and buy some cards off you, let me know. You have that option. You don't really have to work within specific time confines unless it's convenient for someone who's buying the cards off you. Then you might want to wiggle it around a little bit. I guess that the final pro, we'll call it, is that you get to express your own creativity and do your own thing. You've heard the phrase, I'm sure, that the world is your oyster, do what you want with it, or something like that. That's pretty much what you can do with self-employment. You can take it any direction you want, as long as you know what you're doing. And you can evolve it, you can change it, you can modify it, you can go completely different directions, you can take on a second task, a third task, whatever you want. It's honestly all up to you, and you can do whatever you want. For the most part, I think that's it when it comes to pros. There might be some smaller ones squeezed in there here and there, but those are the ones you really want to consider when you want to talk about the self-employment route with yourself. It's a gorgeous day outside today. Perfect day to go for a run, so I'm going to go for my semi-daily run. Before that, I wanted to show you something I purchased, kind of along the lines of a next step, if you will, towards Mario's gaming world becoming a lot bigger than it is. Unrelated, I did buy lunch. Subway, gotta eat fresh. All veggies, no meat, because we're on a diet. Gonna eat that before my run. But more seriously, we got 10 meters of this nice bright green fabric. Now this is going to be used for a green screen. This green screen will probably be used when streaming starts to happen, whenever that is. I'm slowly accumulating all the things I'll need to make sure that streaming project takes off properly, and the green fabric was one of the first steps, besides what I already had. So that's something for you guys to look forward to in the future. Don't know exactly when yet, but it's on its way. Anyway, I'm gonna go eat, and then we're gonna go for a run and go look at some nice outdoor scenery. And now the cons. I'll tell you, it's not all sunshine and daisies and daffodils and whatever. It it can suck sometimes. And you need to know that before you decide, yeah, I want to be a card vendor full-time and let's do it. No, take a step back and think about what the cons could be, because it could be the deal breaker for you. And I'm really going to stress the cons because knowing the positives and getting into those is easier than accepting the cons of what the situation might be. It works that way with everything. Now, I wrote down all the cons that I can think of. There might be more, but I definitely have more cons than pros. But for some of you, the pros will outweigh the cons. So it's up to you, but let's dive right into it. Con number one, you might not make any money that week or that month. You might even lose money if you've invested a bunch of money into whatever it is that you want to try to sell to turn a profit. Let's just say cards. Maybe you spend $4,000 on cards but only sell $2,000. See what I mean? Speaking of money, this leads into con number two, where you might have to spend a lot of money to get things started depending on what route you're going to take. Card vending, maybe not so much, but what if you want to buy a house? You know, what if you need to buy a car? You know, these things are very expensive. And yeah, you can go take out a loan and you can get the money, but you gotta pay that money with interest. And interest sucks. Interest is terrible. Without interest, I guess the world can't go round, but you really don't want to end up in that situation if you don't have to. So you just want to keep that in mind, that being self-employed can have a very costly startup. Con number three is time. Time investment. Specifically in the first few years, maybe thereafter, if you start to take on a lot, you will definitely need to work maybe more than 40 hours a week. It's very possible. You know, the 40-hour work week dream isn't always realistic. Maybe you open a store for 40 hours a week, but you have to also do bookkeeping, inventory, organizing, all the things that keep you proper. And yeah, that's more than 40 hours a week, unless you can do it during your work, but then you might be distracted. Point is, you need to allot for a lot of time. Just for the sake of an example, I'm going to go ahead and post one of my schedules that I had in February or March just on the screen here somewhere for you guys to take a look at. And we're going to talk about it because I want you guys to realize what exactly is a possibility when it comes to time. You'll notice that on this particular schedule, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday take up the 40 hours a week, right there in 3 days. And that's only half the week. Sunday, there's still some stuff going on. Monday and Tuesday, there's stuff going on. Thursday's a little bit going on, but Thursday's a day I take to myself, as you can see by happy time. I could tell you what happy time is, but I kind of want to see what you guys think it is in the comments. So just put it in the comments what you think happy time is. I really want to see it. So I'm not exactly sure yet which schedule you're going to see, but you're looking at around 80 hours a week. That's me. I'm crazy. Don't forget, you might not need to go this intense. I just have all this time allotted to different things because I'm crazy. And I just want to set myself up and have a good future and a good retirement. You know, I don't want to work till I'm 65. But this might not be you. Maybe you'll get to the point where you just day trade for a few hours a day, and maybe you have a 20-hour week, and you spend the rest of your week just, playing games, having fun. And that's a life for some people. It can happen. It's just not for me, but if you make it for you, then I guess time is a pro. So, whatever. I put it as a con because there can be long hours, especially when getting started, and you need to be made aware of that. Con number 4 might not be as much as a con, but I'll mention it anyway. You might have to do a lot of learning if you decide on a particular path. One of the reasons that I ended up starting to card vend was because I knew a lot about Yu-Gi-Oh! Even though I didn't play the game anymore. And I knew that I could take advantage of that, and being a source of knowledge and having a reputation, I know that people would trust me with their money if I send them on the right path. And that's kind of how it started, but it might not be that easy. I've had to go to post-secondary to learn some things for some other things. You might have to do the same. You might have to actually learn how to run a business or how to run your own finances. These are things you need to learn how to do. You can't wake up one day and say, okay, I'm gonna go open up a store and let's go. If you don't know what you're doing, you'll probably fail. You need to have the knowledge to succeed. So for some people, it might be a pro getting the knowledge, or it might be a pro because you don't really have to invest too much time into getting the knowledge. But it could be a con because this might just be a turnoff for you. You might not be interested in learning what it takes to be self-employed properly, and you might just say, no, I'm good, thanks, but no thanks. And that's fine too. Con number 5 is real quick. No benefits usually, no overtime pay, no holiday pay. You know, sometimes work at a call center or factory, you have to work overtime, holidays, you get lots of extra money sometimes, and that's great. But you usually don't get that same thing when you're self-employed. Maybe at around Christmas time, if sales are good, you can write yourself a nice little check, nice little bonus, but don't expect it. It's not guaranteed. I had to go make a delivery, so that's what we're doing right now. I wanted to take a small interjection between cons, because I want to let you guys know that there's one more con I want to talk about coming up, and it's a big one. And I'm going to get into some real talk with you guys. The real talk is because I want you guys to understand how serious potentially the last con is. I think it's the most important one, and I just want you guys to be aware for it. And it's good to be brutally honest and blunt, because you need to be aware of just how brutal the future potentially is. Hello there. Some high-end cards for you.
Thank you.
Fun fact, next week's video we're going to talk about the cards that I just sold. They have their own special topic, so you can look forward to that. Well, with that, I think it's time to return to the cons. The final con, maybe the most important point in this entire video, it's all on you. You're the show. It's all you. And honestly, you might have to do it alone. Yeah, you might have family or friends that can teach you a few things that can help you out along the way, but you can't go into anything having these kind of expectancies. You have to expect that the world is gonna burn and you're on your own. Because if you're relying on other people and you get screwed or something happens, you might be toast. That's it. You need to be self-sufficient. Keep in mind that the world is a very competitive place. You're going to have competition with other businesses, other people, for the money that you're trying to earn. Sometimes you can enter in a very cutthroat environment where you're metaphorically slashing each other's throats trying to make a dollar, and it's gruesome and it gets pretty brutal sometimes. It's all about greed. If you're the one that's doing well, you don't care if the rest of the world burns, maybe except family and friends, but it's all about you. You're doing fine, that's great. Well, guess what? If that person's not you, and you're trying to take on someone more powerful or a company more powerful, you could get crushed because they don't care about you. Nobody cares about you. You need to accept that. It's a possibility that you might be in it completely alone, and you might have to fight for your keep. And keep in mind the saying, the bigger you are, the harder you fall. It's true. The harder it could all come crashing down if something happens, if you fail, if you get distracted. I know a person that literally had to stop their business because a distraction happened, and they couldn't handle it. They had to close down shop. They had no choice, and that was it. You have to be on your game 24/7. The pressure is always on. You don't have anyone else to rely on. You have to make your own money. You have to make your own way in the world. That's what self-employment is. Well, I think I made all the points I need to make. The ball is in your court. I think you have all the information you need when it comes to the general umbrella of self-employment. Just as a bit of a personal backstory, without giving out too much of a backstory, originally I was working at a call center. I was there for 7.5 years, around year 4, year 5, somewhere in there. I really started to get sick of it, and I wanted to start to pave my own way. And I started to pave my own way. At that point, though, it still wasn't enough. I was still a little bit lazy, and the call center was the majority of the income. Believe it or not, and as corny as this sounds, it was because of a girl at the time that I ended up going this direction. She pushed me into doing something else. Not directly, but she made me realize that I wanted to earn more money so that A, I can enjoy myself a little bit more, but B, I can take care of those that I care about. And while the relationship ultimately failed and in flames, it failed really, really badly, I still left with that work ethic and that driving force. So I guess that it ended up working out, as weird as that sounds. Definitely not the call center anymore. That's a story for a different day. Maybe people are interested in that. But yeah, whatever your reasons are, you need to decide if the pros outweigh the cons, or if some of the cons do scare you off. And you know what? Honestly, life is about making mistakes. If you want to go the self-employment route, and you realize that, oh, this is not good, and you end up failing, that's not all a bad thing. You need to make mistakes to learn from them, to evolve. So, am I saying go be self-employed tomorrow? Start vending cards tomorrow? No. Take it at your own pace. I know that there are people watching these videos that message me or leave in the comments they want to do this. You know what? Sometimes you have to take that first step. But always analyze your risks. Always analyze every little thing down to the detail in order to maximize your success. Because you want to succeed. You don't want to make mistakes. Just do your best. That's all you can do. And if you fail, you know what? You pick yourself up and you try again, or you go in a different direction. And that's what life is. Well, we've made it to the end of the video. For those of you that made it so far, thank you. It's currently Saturday evening, so I'm actually running the tournament on my phone while also making deliveries, because I'm multitasking. See, the self-employment life sometimes means that things happen unexpectedly. I was supposed to make these deliveries earlier today, but I couldn't because I was busy doing other things that I had of equal importance, so I had no choice. The reason I'm doing deliveries now is because one of the guys is actually leaving Belleville tonight, so I'm kind of, I have to do it now, I have no choice. But that's what the self-employment life is sometimes. Sometimes you have to be fun, fast, and flexible, for lack of better words. Hopefully you guys have a better understanding of what's required of you when you're self-employed. You have the pros and the cons, and not everything is 100% an absolute. Different things can happen. Some of the cons are like pros. Some of the pros, I guess, could be viewed as cons. So it just depends on your situation, what's going on. But hopefully you guys can now make a more educated approach to vending or any self-employment venture you choose. Time to go finish some deliveries, so I'm going to see you guys next time. Have a good one.